introduce yourself for the listeners?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
My name is Lee Michelson. I'm here writing for a small women's basketball specific publication, hoopfeed.com. I was on the bus coming from the basketball game, the last basketball game of the day last night. We were moving at a high rate of speed down the new highway when I heard the two shots rang out. I will have to wait until I see this ballistics and forensics report. It sounds to me like it's looking at the wrong part of the bus. If it's looking at the steel surroundings as opposed to the impact of the glass, which I have photographs of, before I believe that this was any kind of Olympic-level rock throwing by local teenagers.
They couldn't possibly do it in that time, could they? Two stones.
Come on now. You know, 2 points of impact, pop, pop, that quickly. The bus moving, you know, at a good, I would say, 45, 50 miles an hour or better down at the highway, to hit it exactly shoulder to head level in the windows. They should add that to the Olympic Games.
Does this seem like spin to you by the IOC?
It certainly does. You know, I will apologize to them if I see a convincing forensic and ballistics report examining the right part of the bus from a competent authority that doesn't have an incentive to put a friendly face on this.
What happened after the shots? What was the reaction of the driver?
The driver's reaction was to slow the bus and pull over to the side of the road to stop. And at that point, a Reuters photographer, I've got military background myself, I'm a retired Air Force captain. He was embedded in Iraq and recognized it as gunfire as well. There was a third person with military background on the bus. None of the three of us were amongst the Argentine reporters that supposedly were interviewed. He began yelling at the guy, "Get us out of here, get us out of here, go back to MPC." Ultimately, before he had fully come to a stop, he pulled back onto the road and moved on. And we did very quickly get a police vehicle pulling up in front of us. Some of the reporters still wanted the bus to continue on to MPC. I don't think it was the choice of the driver by that point. I have to say, you know, having been in some of these situations and trained for it, that it might be a grand idea to have bus lights on at night to let people know who's coming, you know, if they're more likely to shoot the police. But once some incident of contact, whether it be rock throwing or, you know, gunfire happens, you turn the lights out, but we're crying out loud. You don't sit there with yourself, you know, 12 people backlit for all the world to see. Happily, you know, people suffered the minor cuts, the windows were blown out. It was mostly, there was absolutely no first aid treatment, either evident or offered.
Do you believe their explanation?
I don't.
How startling or shocking of a situation was this last night?
For someone like me, you know, who's been in that situation and trained for it, I don't hold myself out as any kind of expert, but you just, once you're through those situations, you instinctively take cover, get down, and that's when you're on autopilot. There are other people not accustomed to that who were quite shocked, and I saw later that one of the women on the bus was crying. I wish I could have reached out to her, but my attention was on the two guys who were bleeding.
Did you feel that the driver had the proper training for that?
No, there was no evidence of any kind of escape and avoidance training, which would be called for in this kind of situation. Certainly, if he was trained in this, he didn't comply with the training.
So what was the apology? Do you feel that was an apology?
I don't think I was apologized to. I don't know that I need to be apologized to. My heart goes out to the Turkish volunteer who isn't paid to be here. You know, he was the one more seriously cut. I mean, thankfully, I don't think it required stitches or an ambulance, but it would be nice if somebody had bothered even to ask.
Was you the one?
How are you?
Were you the person who actually treated him?
Treated as a generous, you know, description of pouring water from the water bottle on to get him cleaned up and handing him some Kleenex.
So in your mind, it was basically.
I think we live now in a world where all of us know, whether you're in Paris, you're here, you're in Orlando, bad things can happen. I see a lot of police and soldiers on the street. I think everything's being done to try to avoid situations. The question is whether we're in a good position as far as responding to the situation if it should occur. I'll tell you, my daughter's with me. She doesn't get to travel on the media buses, and she won't be traveling alone. because I have no confidence whatsoever that should something more serious happen, that they would be prepared, equipped, and actually compliant with doing what the situation requires.
Listen, I spoke to